Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is going to be the long awaited episode 3 of Why I Love This Artist series. Now, as you know, well, you might not know, I've had a few subscribers. I've done a video on why I love the Beatles, and then I did a second video on why I love Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So, in keeping with the Traveling Wilburys theme, as it were, mentioning George Harrison with the Beatles, Tom Petty, we are now going to go into this guy right here, Bob Dylan. Um, yeah, what can I say? This is a an art piece that sits by my home office here in my apartment. That was given to me by my parents, and I also have this little thing right here from my buddy Steve. All the World's a Stage that I have yet to find a place for, but I have Bob all over my apartment. I have another poster hanging in my living room. I have another poster that I have yet to hang. That was given to me, well, that I bought when I saw him back in 2022 in Greensboro. But anyway, I've just done 2 Bob Dylan concert review videos. I just saw him twice, once in Richmond, Virginia, and once in Roanoke, Virginia, just last week. It was a week ago today that I was driving to Richmond to see Bob at the Altria Theater there in town. The first time that I saw Bob Dylan was April the 15th, or yeah, April the 15th, April the 12th of 2015, at the Altria Theater. I saw him with my dad, and never really looked back since that time. Don't look back, as it were. So where did I start with Dylan? Again, like Tom Petty, like the Beatles to an extent, a lot of it started with the Traveling Wilburys album, Volume 1. So here's Traveling Wilburys. And obviously you've got some Dylan songs on here, like Dirty World, Congratulations, Tweeter and the Monkey Man, which is an absolute, killer track. It's a story type song where lots of lyrics. It's kind of a long story piece about Tweeter and the Monkey Man, kind of like a drug cartel kind of thing. And so I first got into Bob listening to this. There he is, looking cool with his other brothers in shades there. And, love those songs, love that album, but still was not fully into Bob. My dad, even one time, just like with Tom Petty, made me a Napster CD, which I don't have on me, that had a mix. And there were a couple of Bob Dylan songs on there. I think one of them was Knocking on Heaven's Door, maybe Mr. Tambourine, or If You See Her, Say Hello. Just a couple songs that were on that compilation, which is cool. But again, I was not fully invested in Dylan. Well, flash forward to about 2010, into 2011. It was my sophomore year of high school. And is that right? Yeah, it's probably about my sophomore year of high school. I was in a class with a gentleman. The teacher at the time, his name was Mr. Rook. I won't give his first name, but Mr. Rook was a young teacher at the time. Again, I'm a sophomore, so I'm 15 years old, 16, and was just getting into music. Like the year before, 2009, is when I really went full in with the Beatles. I'd listened to the Wilburys, 08, 09 in 8th grade. And so again, stuff is coming at me. It's sticking to me like tape. And Mr. Rook was teaching a class. Again, I went to a very small Christian private school. So again, a lot of sheltered, type kids there. Not a lot of the secular world, as it were, was coming into the school. But Mr. Rook was like the rock and roll teacher. It was like School of Rock kind of thing. School of Rook, again, if you will. And we had an assignment where we were doing song interpretations, like for whatever class this was. I think it was, it was some sort of like philosophy class that we were in. The assignment had nothing to do with the topic of the class, I'll tell you that. He made some excuse, but and Mr. Rook and I were still good friends. We text back and forth, and he was actually at the last Dylan show I was at, and he was at the first Dylan show I was at. So that's kind of cool. Didn't even think about that. That's really cool. And he had each of the students, again, there's probably about 12 of us in the class, bring in a song that, we wanted to interpret, and like, try to delve into the lyrics, get some class discussion going. And so he was like, I'm going to give an example. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to come in with a song, and we're going to start with mine, and then we're going to go to y'all's, whatever y'all want to bring in. Not everybody's song got picked. Actually, I don't even think my song got picked. I think I picked "The Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke, but it didn't get picked because we only had so much time. But um, Mr. Rook started with a song from this album, "Oh Mercy," called "Ring Them Bells," which is just an absolutely beautiful song. Um, Very poetic, very spiritual, very religious. Again, this is post Bob Dylan's Christian phase. This is 1989, so this is like Wilburys Bob, and again, produced by Dan Lanois. I think I've done an episode on this album, um, but that song just blew me away. And I remember listening to an artist by the name of Sarah Jarosz, who my sister was actually opening up for. And she's like an Americana artist. My sister was part of a program and opened up for Sarah Jarosz. But Sarah Jarosz did a cover of "Ring Them Bells," uh, which was beautiful. And I was like, that is an incredible song. And so this is the first Bob Dylan album that I bought, is "Oh Mercy" on CD. But you've got other great songs on here. I'm not going to rattle through them because I have a few more that I want to show. But "Ring Them Bells" was the song that really kick-started it for me for Bob. Outside of the Wilburys, outside of the stuff that I knew, this was what got me into like deep cut stuff. Thanks to Mr. Rook. Now, another thing that was happening around this time, around 2011, 2012, was, to my, little did I know, because I'm not thinking about, oh, Bob is still recording kind of stuff. I knew he did because my dad was really big into, he liked the modern times song, "Spirit on the Water," and which the first time we saw Dylan, he did that song, which was really cool. But again, around this time, 2012 would have been my senior year of high school. This album comes out, Tempest. So this is the first Dylan album that I bought brand new, like the first album when Dylan was recording. Like, this was a release date. I got this album because I remember my dad also showed me "Duquesne Whistle," the opening track off of this. There's Bob looking cool. I just get this great like ragtime guitar kind of sound to it, and a great drum shuffle to it. Musically, it's beautiful. Vocally, a lot of people would say that this is probably his worst vocally. He was really struggling with his voice. I like it. I like it a lot. But I guess he was still smoking. I don't know what was going on, but his voice was pretty shot on this album. But beautiful songs on here. He even does a tribute to John Lennon called "Roll On John," the last track. Kind of a Bo Diddley kind of, or bluesy song called "Early Roman Kings" with the, womp, 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 which I've heard him do many times live. Beautiful song, "Long and Wasted Years." "Narrow Way," which has one of the great lyrics. "If I can't work up to you, surely you're going to have to work down to me someday." What a great line. So this was the album that got me into new Bob, i.e. old man Bob. So again, now I'm rolling in Bob Dylan. And so, I'm starting to get Dylan albums. I'm starting to buy them CDs. And I'm not sure the exact order of when I discovered this album, but I know I was really into it in college. That is the album "Blood on the Tracks." Voted by many to be his masterpiece. I concur. This is my favorite Dylan album. It's my third favorite album of all time, with the Beatles and the Beach Boys coming in at 2 and 1. But this album is flawless. I think it is perfect. I think his singing is fantastic. I think the playing is fantastic. I love the open tunings on the guitars on this. It's kind of a simple band. It's not a really rocking album, but it's not folky either. It's very, very singer-songwriter, very, very easy to get into. Hits on here, you got "Tangled Up in Blue," "Simple Twist of Fate," "Idiot Wind," "If You See Her Say Hello" is on here. But then you've also got great deep cuts like "You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go," You're a Big Girl Now, Meet Me in the Morning, which is very bluesy, the fantastic epic Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts, then just a beautiful the closing track Buckets of Rain, which is just a beautiful song. And obviously this album was what a lot of people call Dylan's divorce album. He was going through a divorce around this time in 1974. Next year's the 50th. Maybe we'll get a box set. I know we kind of got the box set with like the Trouble No More, but maybe we'll get like a remaster or something. So, Blood on the Tracks. There we go. So I'm really getting into Dylan. You know, again, when I'm seeing Dylan in 2015 in Richmond, I knew I had to go. This album had just come out, Shadows in the Night, which he does. It's the first of his 3 Sinatra albums where he's covering Sinatra songs, but Sinatra deep cuts, not, you know, like Fly Me to the Moon and stuff. But beautiful stuff. He only did one song from this when we saw him, which was Stay With Me. That's what he closed the album, the night with, the first time in Richmond in 2015. I remember specifically the second song of the night was She Belongs to Me. And Dylan came out with a harmonica, and the light hit that harmonica at one point, and then it shone right onto my face. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. Just to know that, like, you know, that's coming off of Bob Dylan's harmonica that he's playing. That was just awesome. Dad and I were second or third row in the balcony, and just a wonderful night. I can't, like, that was just a cool night. Dylan was looking cool in a white hat, and he did some great stuff. He did Tangled Up in Blue. He did Simple Twist of Fate that night. He did a ton of stuff from Tempest and then Stay With Me. And I love all the other albums that came in the series as well. Another favorite Dylan album that I won't go into, Infidels. That's his post-Christian period album. Came out in 1983, so this is the 40th anniversary this year when this came out. Again, another very accessible album. You've got stuff on here like Sweetheart Like You, Joker Man, I and I, Union Sundown, Don't Fall Apart on Me Tonight, Man of Peace, License to Kill, Neighborhood Bullies. Just awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. This is my second favorite after Blood on the Tracks. My favorite of like the protest era Bob, this is up there for me, is The Times They Are A-Changin'. This has the beautiful song With God on Our Side, which is my second favorite Bob Dylan song. I'm going to show you my favorite in just a minute, but those that know me know what that is. The song With God on Our Side is just a beautiful take on what, you know, countries and what they believe that they're fighting for, and like how everybody thinks that their side of the war is just, when in reality, you know, there's not really any kind of just war. There were reasons to fight, and there were reasons to, you know, kind of protect ourselves. But at the end of the day, you know, we're humans taking the lives of other humans, and that's just a terrible, terrible thing, no matter which way you slice it. And Dylan, you know, at the ripe young age of, what, 23 right here, writing stuff like, you know, though I can't think for you, you'll have to decide whether Judas Iscariot had God on his side. Just beautiful stuff. And obviously, you know, The Times They Are A-Changin' was a protest anthem. Ballad of Hollis Brown, Only a Pawn in Their Game, beautiful. Boots of Spanish Leather is beautiful. Just stunning, stunning melody on that. And, you know, he's taking old folk melodies, putting them together with new lyrics, sometimes like When the Ship Comes In, kind of based around the Parting Glass, the old Celtic tune. So this is my favorite of the early Bob records. Dylan also, obviously, as anybody knows, has a bootleg series that comes out just about yearly. And this was like the first one that I really got into, this particular one right here, Another Self-Portrait. This kind of follows the much maligned era of Dylan's self-portrait era, that was an album that came out when he was kind of trying to get away from the protest singer look. He had put out his 3 electric albums. He had gotten into his supposed motorcycle accident, kind of holed himself up in Woodstock with members of the band. They recorded what would become the Basement Tapes. A lot of those songs ended up on subsequent albums, but he then put out an album called Self-Portrait, which has a bunch of covers on it. And then the songs, like his original songs, they're kind of buried in there. And like there's a couple of like live versions of his songs from the Isle of Wight with the band. But this kind of puts things in a whole new light. Just the beautiful demos on here. like This Evening So Soon, which is an old Bob Gibson song. I Threw It All Away is a great version from Nashville Skyline. Minstrel Boy is awesome. Went to See the Gypsy is beautiful. Pretty Sarah is stunning. Wigwam is awesome. Wallflower, that's a killer song. Um, Beautiful version of Copper Kettle. He does this beautiful version of Spanish is the Loving Tongue, which would end up on the Dylan album, which was kind of like a contractual obligation album that Dylan had no part in. And it's just, the song is just beautiful. It knocks the album version out of the water. Yes, I know Dylan didn't write it, but his music to it and just the way that he enunciates and sings that song is just beautiful. So another self-portrait, that's where I would start with the bootleg series. Very, very, very easy to get into. And then again, people know this about me if you watch my Dylan videos. Shot of Love, it's his third of the gospel albums. The last track on here, Every Grain of Sand. Absolutely 100% my favorite Bob Dylan song, no questions asked. Especially after hearing him do it twice last week. And then I saw him do it last year in Greensboro. When he pulls out that harmonica and plays that solo, it's just stops you in your tracks. Just a beautiful song. Again, how somebody can write lyrics like that is beyond me, and put it to music. Onward in my journey, I can see the master's plan, that every hair is numbered like every grain of sand. I mean, it's biblical. It really is, and just a beautiful song. I've actually given a talk in a church before, not to get too religious, but I did a message on based around that song, tying in the Bible with it, and I've also done that with God on Our Side. So both of those songs hold a very special place to me because I've actually used them to teach people. So hoping that I'm teaching people about God and what that means. So yeah, again, I've seen Dylan five times, 6 times now. I'll see him tomorrow if the opportunity arose. And yeah, I mean, he's the reason that I play a harmonica with my guitar. He's the reason that I write the way that I do. He's the reason that, I like a lot of the music that I like. Between him and the band, they started a whole new generation of music with, Americana. He's genre hops. Like if I'm not in the mood for folky Bob, I can put in something like Nashville Skyline and hear country music. Or if I don't want to hear country music, I can put in something like Highway 61 and rock out. Or I can put in, Shot of Love and kind of have like a religious experience, and, listen to the crooner albums, the Sinatra albums, and there's just so much to unpack with Bob, and he's never going to be understood. He doesn't want us to understand him. I don't want to understand him. I've read his books. I have seen him. I've watched interviews, and I'm fascinated every single time that he does something. And here he is now, 82, still doing it. I love him to death. He's my favorite artist, and yeah, hopefully this didn't ramble too much. I just had to do this one. I'm kind of on a Dylan kick right now, and wanted to throw this out here. So let me know what y'all think about this. Not that you have a say in why I like Dylan, because this is why I like Dylan. That's not changing. Like he sings, why try to change me now? So yeah, comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me some Dylan cuts that you like, Dylan stories, whatever it might be. I know a lot of my viewers told me about seeing Bob Dylan with Tom Petty in the 80s. That's awesome. So very envious of you. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm taking up enough of your time. Y'all be good. Subscribe, please. Thank you. Take care, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye now.